we also calculate our brew cost per kilo for our coffee. Like, what is our fully loaded cost per kilo? Because it will astound you if you actually take the time to load in all the costs that are associated with that coffee. Because the reality of what we're paying at the farm gate to what it actually costs when you sell it to a customer, either as a cup or as a bag, is so far apart. I can tell you ours is 12 times. It's 12 times what we pay per kilo is what the actual true cost is.
The introduction to regenerative coffee farming workshops are now available on demand in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. For coffee producers, the workshop is available for just $10, and for everyone else, it's $20. Led by our incredible professors, the workshop is packed with practical knowledge and strategies to help coffee farmers and the entire coffee industry adapt to the challenges of climate change, rising costs, and market demands. If you're a business owner, this workshop is a great and affordable way to inform your employees about the challenges ahead while also supporting Mapper Forward. Head to mapperforward.coffee/workshops or click the link in the description to purchase the on-demand version and start your journey towards a more sustainable coffee future today. Welcome to the Mapper Forward Middle East podcast, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 4 of an awesome 5-part series with my friends Kim and Matt from Raw Coffee Company. We are talking about the specialty coffee shop that started it all in the Middle East. And in this episode, we're talking about breaking it down into image versus profitability. And I really want to start this conversation inside the cafe, if we can, because I walk into a lot of cafes here and I go, wow, like there are a lot of really beautifully designed cafes that are just like, when you speak to the owners, they brought in a designer from Milan, or they brought someone in from Thailand, or there's someone from Australia, whatever. And you walk in and they're just stunning. It's not just in Dubai. This is, you know, a lot of the UAE and in Saudi as well. And then I look for the customers and they're empty. And it's such a shame that these incredibly stunning spaces are not being enjoyed by people. Then you look at the menu and you know, the menu looks fine. Like I still can't say I taste the coffee. The coffee tastes great. There is a difference between the way things look and the profitability of a business that I think that owners that come into this industry are missing. Because when I walk into Raw, I got to walk around for a few minutes to find a seat, and there are a lot of seats at Raw. There's an upstairs and a downstairs at Raw, and there are a lot of tables. How many people can you seat at Raw?
250.
And every time I walk in, I struggle to find a seat. I've got to get some help from the fantastic staff. Shout out to all the Raw staff that are listening to this. But they're so lovely with being able to help me find a place to sit. But the reality of it is, while you guys have a lovely cafe, it's not designed by designers from Milano, right? Yes. It's a warehouse industrial kind of vibe to it. And it doesn't have like fine dining furniture in it, no disrespect. But you have bums on seats, right? And I kind of want to start this conversation there if we can. What do you think people who are opening those cafes, that's not to say that there aren't beautiful spaces that have customers, but they don't have customers from the time they open to the time they close. What do you think is the difference?
Okay. Look, when you are creating a business, eventually you're going to want to realize the value of that business. You want to sell it. So there's 2 ways that you can approach it. You can either have somebody look at your revenue number, or you can have someone look at your bottom line, whether that's net profit or EBITDA, whatever it might be. Now, if you are running a business, and I'm sorry for people who know this, but I don't think a lot of people in our industry do know this. If you're running a business that is you are going for a revenue number, there is a multiplier that will be applied to that revenue number. So all you have to focus on is making sure that the revenue number next year is bigger than the previous year. Now, the easiest way to do that, if you've got investment, is just to keep opening stores. So, that store in its individuality might not be making any profit, but you've got more revenue coming in more than last year. It's that simple. The other way of doing business is you actually have to make a net profit. Now, that's a little harder because you actually have to look at everything in between. And my friend Mark has a beautiful saying, you can't save your way to prosperity. So you have to find the balance of making sure that you're a lean business, that you're not wasting money, but that you're actually buying things of high enough quality that your customers will return. Because if you are not just opening store after store after store, you actually have to get the customer to come back. And I joke with my team that I have one job and they have one job. My job is to get the person to come through the front door. Their job is to get them to come back. And that's kind of the difference between what we're seeing in Dubai. There is a lot of new brands who are opening a lot of new stores, but it's a little bit like the game of musical chairs. Eventually the music's going to stop and there's going to be some people who are going to miss out on seats. And we're about to see that happen again. Orange Friend in the United States is making that a closer reality than we expect. But that's the difference, because you're so correct. There are some beautiful spaces. There really are beautiful spaces. But you go in there and that menu might look good on paper, but when you actually go and order, I'm sorry, that's 86. Oh, that's 86. That's 86. Why? Oh, well, we didn't sell any of it. We're selling one a day. We've just thrown it all away. We have a new roastery opening across the road from us. Literally, I could throw a stone and hit it. And there was a business in there that we were both quite excited about when it opened. And it never, ever started. It just spent a whole bunch of money and closed.
Wow.
Because they didn't think about who their customer was going to be, how they were going to attract them. No one knew what it was, and it was just badly designed as far as you couldn't tell what it was. And eventually they just closed their doors, and I don't think they ever really started. And we see that a lot here.
I have a few things. I think authenticity is something that's really important, to be authentic to who you are, so that you can consumers, customers are, they have intuition. They can tell if something's genuine, if it's not real, if you're just saying something. And I think we don't try to pretend to be anything that we're not. And we're not particularly hip or cool, but we have a space that's very relaxed. And our industry can be misunderstood sometimes, where it can make people feel a little uncomfortable because maybe they don't know what they're ordering, or they don't know what they actually might like. So they need gentle guidance or help, and they don't like being told what to do. So you've got to listen to what a customer wants and then take that feedback and react. So I think there's being connected to the customer and understanding what they're really looking for, being welcoming, being authentic. People like feeling like that you're honest. So maybe the food needs to be honest, not overpriced, but genuine, a decent size. I think there's a lot of things you just have to listen to what customers want a lot of the time, and then you have to decide whether you want to retain your values or what you're trying to be, because sometimes I still get really upset when we get a bad review on TripAdvisor, for example, or on Google reviews, because the team are doing their best and we're trying really hard. And maybe someone doesn't like our air conditioning, or didn't like the music, or the seats were uncomfortable, and so they give you a 1, or whatever it might be. And I have been held back by everybody because I respond really quickly to the review. Well, I'm sorry, thank you for taking the time to review us, and all that sort of stuff. But it's like, I think some of these new places, I feel really sorry for them, because the landlord got the money, the fit out company got the money, the team they recruited believed in this person's vision, and they wanted to be part of what was created. But, it's hard, and it takes a lot of work and attention to detail, and every variable has to be considered. And sometimes the depth or the detail is not there behind the lovely fit out. And I think it's sad, because there's a lot that don't make it, and they should. And actually, again, some really good international brands that come in that work beautifully in that other country come in here, and it's not executed properly. Yeah.
Look,
I have a tough question for the two of you, if that's okay.
You've got a tough question? Bring it on.
Well, just before
Matt was going to say something. Yeah.
I still, every week on a Monday morning, I sit down with our head of finance and we go through our cash flow. Like literally, we have an Excel spreadsheet that tells us for the next 3 months exactly how much cash we've got, down to the dirham, what we project over that following the next quarter, and then we look at the year's cash flow. And we do that every single week. We also calculate our true cost per kilo for our coffee. Like, what is our fully loaded cost per kilo? Because it will astound you if you actually take the time to load in all the costs that are associated with that coffee. Because the reality of what we're paying at the farm gate to what it actually costs when you sell it to a customer, either as a cup or as a bag, is so far apart. I can tell you ours is 12 times. It's 12 times what we pay per kilo is what the actual true cost is. It's just incredible when you actually start to break this down. And I think that people, it's not very enjoyable unless you've got someone who likes numbers. And we're lucky that we employ someone who's way better than that than we are. We can do numbers.
And it's lucky I trust them.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because I don't get involved in that.
Oh, you trust me?
Yeah.
I don't know where he was going with that. Who don't you trust?
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah. No, that's.
Well, let me ask you that. Go on.
Yeah. No,
ask us the hard one.
Ask a hard question.
Okay.
Go on.
So people may not know that there is a kind of way that businesses happen here in the UAE, not just in Dubai, where the people who own the businesses don't actually work in the businesses a lot of the time. And there is a culture of that exists, in the business culture that exists in a lot of the kind of coffee businesses that are here. And the hard question is what do you guys think about that business models, and what are the pros and cons of that? Because I have talked to a lot of those owners in the couple of years that I've been here, and in the year before that where I was visiting, and I can't see how that could end well. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. Well, because unless you've got a really trusted, operations manager, and you've got really tight processes and gates that you can check everything. But still, I wonder how they manage to do it, because whether it's men or women, that, so much comes down to relationships and people. And if you don't know people's names, and if you're not doing performance reviews and having targets and giving feedback, I wonder how you retain those people in the positions. So then how do you grow? How are you constantly evolving? I think it would be very hard.
Well, and there's a lot of money that leaks out of those businesses, right? Like if you're, go ahead. Sorry, Matt.
Okay. So there's a couple of things. You've got to separate from trend. So when I first came to Dubai, it was really trendy to own a racing camel.
I was going to say you invested in a...
Yep. Sandy. She won the first race, and then after that, not so.
It's cold. I never knew that.
Yeah. Then I'm just trying to remember the sliders. There were slider bars, so there, which came prior to the smash burger bar. We've had cafes, we've had roasteries. There's a lot of trends. Paddles. Yeah, but paddle is still quite good.
That's going to stay.
Right.
Yeah.
We have an amazing culture here where the leaders of this country are encouraging everybody, not just the Emiratis, but all the residents of this country to make the most of the country. So one of the things that they've done, for example, is the Crown Prince of Dubai came up with this initiative where he put this running trail down the beachfront, right? It's about 10, 12 kilometers. And everybody looked at it going, oh, what do we need that for? They had to build 2 more because it's so popular that people are just out and about. There's cycling tracks all over the city, so that infectiousness is amazing, but it also can be a negative where everybody sort of wants to be part of it. And so there's a lot of trend, I need to own a cafe, right? And then what happens is that you employ people, you don't really know what you're doing. So you kind of go, well, I just need a barista, right? It's a cafe. Oh, yeah, you do. But you might need to train that barista, and you might need to have an accountant. You might need to have somebody who's making your food, because you can't just, it's not a Lego model. It's you can't just put a whole bunch of pieces together and expect it to work.
We just employed a few months ago 5 new senior baristas so that we can pop them in when we get a new commercial customer to help them to get it started properly, because people aren't even factoring in training of their team to be able to do the customer service or the barista work. So as a supplier, we realized there were a few things that we've done actually, looking at, different grinders that we're working with and the water treatment, but then to get some key people that we'll employ so that we can make sure places work, because otherwise they blame the coffee.
You raise a really interesting thing. I remember the first time Noah and I came when we had visited for the first World of Coffee, and you showed us your water system. And Noah and I kind of talked about that for hours after we left, because folks, if you have never been to Raw and understood how focused and how meticulous Raw is about the water that is used to brew their coffee, you haven't been to Raw. It is beautiful to watch the attention to detail at this level. It's just wild, the involvement that you guys have. And look, we see this in a lot of countries around the world. I don't see it enough here, where you have a business owners that are that focused on all the minute details of their business because you care. Like at the fundamentals of it, when a business owner is involved in their business, the signal that they're sending their staff and their customers and their suppliers is, we care about the success of this business. We care about the longevity of this business. Right, Kim?
I listened to the Dubai Eye radio show on the way into work this morning, and they interviewed the founder of Home Bakery, and I think she's got 15 outlets here now in Dubai, and she's expanding into Saudi Arabia. Really interesting to hear that, and she works in her business.
Yep.
So I think the other thing about whether it's easy or not to work in or not is that if you want to be successful, you have to work in it. There's no other way you could make it grow and be profitable. You have to be working on it, and you need to be in it, I believe.
And it opens up this other, thing, and we don't have to talk too much about this, but there are challenging situations that exist here in the Middle East, and every client that I have worked with here that isn't involved in their business eventually has a conversation with me about the fact that there's money that's going missing, or their staff are dealing with, having side deals with suppliers. The moment you decide not to be involved in the management of your business, you should expect to see not only zero profitability, but you should start to see some very negative effects on what's happening with the money that you're putting into the business.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, a part of that is often because there's an unreal expectation and, not paying a fair living wage.
Right.
So people are out of desperation helping themselves. The amount of people that we have unfortunately come across where literally they've been abandoned, where the owner has just walked away, and then they've just sort of left if you guys can sell it, keep the money. I'm out.
Wow.
I'm abdicating responsibility. That's not.
There's also that old-fashioned mentality where they let the purchasing department control the direction of the company, and so they're driving down costs. They're not paying. They've got the 90-day before they start looking at making payments for payments, and there's no security to the suppliers, and there's still actually surprising amount of businesses that run in a very old-fashioned way like that, which you've got to be really firm up front, and they will not give you security checks or anything just to protect your business. So I think it's getting a lot better. It is getting a lot better, and I think somehow those types of businesses don't generally want to work with us anyway because we're too expensive, perceived to be expensive. So it kind of filters it out before it even becomes something we need to worry about.
I was saying before that, you can either drive revenue or you can drive profitability in your business, right? A lot of the businesses that have tried to do it, what they've done is that they haven't realized that in order to grow your business, you need a capital coming into the business. So what they do is try and use the suppliers. The coffee supplier is the number one that they try and use as their cash for their bank. So if it's 120. Now it's interesting. We are now seeing those businesses fail. So there will be a clean out a little bit. It's not a great thing, but that's the reality of the Dubai scene, and we're going to see another Dubai. We're going to see version 6 for me. So,
exciting times ahead. It'll be only my second version because I feel like it's changing constantly. And having only been here 2 years, I can already see things shifting, and it's kind of wild.
I've been here 29.
Wow.
So
how
I've
many versions do you think?
I've forgotten versions.
All right, speaking about forgotten versions, let's go. In the next episode, we're talking about how to remain relevant. Join us for the last episode of the series. Well done, Kim. Peace, love, and peanut butter.
It's going to be a revelation to me.
Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day, everyone. Bye. This episode is part of a 5-part series produced by Mapper Forward. Check the full playlist and guest details in the show notes, as well as how you can support our work in the coffee industry. Become a premium YouTube subscriber, explore our Patreon and any brands we've partnered with to bring you this podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really does help us grow our audience.